A very good morning to one and all present here. So today is the first uh, today is the first day of SATCAN initiative of the Bharat Scouts and Guides, where the SATCAN course will be starting today. So we have more than 200 participants will be joining for the SATCAN course, which is for the past, which will be going for the 3 months. And each week and the weekends, that is Saturday or Sunday, one day we'll be having in the morning 9 to 10:30 or uh, uh, consecutive time we'll be having the SATCAN course. So with us, we'll be having with us people who are young people who are knowing how to do satellites with SATCAN. So the whole concept here is of SATCAN is to make a satellite in a can. So what we'll do here is we'll use the can, that is the Coca-Cola can or Pepsi can that is used or thrown away. That can will be used and it will be made into a satellite which can be held for sensing and which can be held for remote sensing, and it will be used for communication between the ground station and the satellite. And this satellite can be launched. So we'll be having our SATCAN kit where you guys, whoever is attending, whoever is participating, you can purchase the kit from the scout shop of Bharat Scouts and Guides Karnataka. So it will be soon available within 3 weeks. So you can check there. After 3 weeks, we'll be letting to you know. So each week you'll be having particular courses, and each course you'll be learning something new. And when you're learning something new, you will be given some study materials. You'll be giving some materials and some web materials where you can go search in Google, or you can have that materials and you can research about it. You can do your homework and come back. And if you have any doubts or any clarifications, we are always there, where there are professionals who have been trained for this, and the guest speakers who are coming with us, they'll be trained and they know about satellite making and what are the different satellites and rockets. So you can ask them any questions related to satellite. So we'll have a sessions where first the whole it will be for 1.5 hours, that is 90 minutes. So in 1.5 hours you'll be learning different things, and after you complete 1.5 hours you'll be having the recording where you can use it afterwards. If some people cannot join on the particular day, no issues, you will be getting your recordings where you can check the recordings in your mail ID. So I hope all of you have registered with your mail ID and coming here. So on the first day, we'll be having with us the our State Chief Commissioner, Shri PGR Sindhya sir, and the Secretary General of Bharat Scouts and Guides. So I request Shri PGR Sindhya sir to motivate the young people and encourage them.
My young friends from different parts of the country and Karnataka, today is a very important day for Scouts and Guides people. Today is the sunrise day or scarf day, we call it. 114 years back, Baden Powell, the founder of Scouts Guides movement, started the first camp in Brownsea Island in London. And from that day, for the last 114 years, the Scouts and Guides movement has been rising. It has been growing, and that's why we call it as Sunrise Day. So on the occasion of this Sunrise Day, Scarf Day, I wish all the best to all the youngsters of this nation and also our state particularly. Today, I am very happy our youngsters have joined together under the leadership of our dynamic young engineer, Mr. Suprit Balaji, who is pioneer for doing this CAN satellite program. And satellite is a very, very interesting thing. The young minds, if they are going to involve at this age of theirs, then it will be a great benefit to the society and to the country. We Indians, we are no doubt a most powerful country in this world. But in spite of being a powerful country with a population of more than 130 crores. In terms of the activities in the space, we still have to go to the level of United States of America, Russia, and China, one or two nations. So think of a satellite where, people have started traveling in satellites, and they have been doing a lot of activities. Using the waste, that is the cans which we just throw away. I am very happy that Suprit and his friends, they have thought of this can satellite. And it's a very interesting thing. In the days to come, satellite is going to play a major role in all walks of life in India also. And the quality of life of everybody will also improve using this technology. So there are so many technocrats in our organization. And many youngsters wants to become engineers, space engineers. For them, this is going to be of great use. I'm so happy that from today, for this project, which is going to run for a few months, coaching classes have started. This is like coaching. I'm sure the experts who are going to come, they will deliver to you the importance and how to make use of make a satellite. I am sure this is going to be much useful. I congratulate Mr. Suprit and his team, and I compliment the lecturers who are going to come and attend, that is the experts. At this point of time, I'd like to give this credit to Mr. Madhusudan Avala, our International Deputy Commissioner, who is responsible for all these activities online during this COVID time. And also he has got many new ideas. One of them is to bring in the scientific temperament and activity among the young mind. In this direction, this is a program. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So your inspirational words has always motivated all the young people in Bharat Scouts and Guides Karnataka and the country. And today we'll be having the first session. And before we go ahead with the sessions or the guest lectures, we'll be starting with some small guidelines that everybody should make sure that they know. So you'll be using your Zoom here for every weekend sessions, and there are a few options that you can use, that is question and answer button. So you can click on it, and if you have any doubts or any questions, you can click on it and type it down, and the guest speakers will check on the questions and answer your questions regardingly. And then there is poll section. If there is any polls, we'll let you know so that you can give the poll and you can suggest your votes over there. And then there is the chat section, and you can introduce yourself. So first you can introduce yourself from where you are, and then you can go ahead with why do you want to learn about SATCAN and what is interesting about SATCAN. So even if you have any doubts or something, you want to ask something, you can ask the question and answer button or the chat section. And any more doubts in the weekdays, by the time after today you complete the course, and next you have the next session on the next weekend, that is on the 6th or 7th of August. So at that time, between this time, if you have any doubts or any clarifications, you can actually type it down in a Google form, or you can type it down in your WhatsApp groups which you have been assigned. So there, if you have any doubts, you can type it down there, where we'll be allowing you to type. Now it's not allowed, but by tomorrow we'll be allowing you to type your doubts or any questions you have, so that the guest speakers of the next session can answer your doubts. So moving forward with, you can introduce yourself in the chat section. So you can give your name, you can tell from which place you are, and you can give why are you interested in SATCAN. Very nice. We are getting few names and from which place you are. So nice to see you from different parts of the country and even different parts of the world. So we'll start with a small introduction of what is STEM. So can anybody type down what is STEM? What is the full form of STEM? What is the full form of STEM? STEM. Yes, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and maths. So when you talk about science, technology, engineering, and maths, does satellite have one of these or all of these? Which one does satellite have? Does it have science? Does it have technology? Does it have engineering, or does it have maths? Or does it have everything in it? All of them. All of them, everything. Yes, it's correct. When you talk about satellites and talk about building satellites, you'll have everything in it. That is science, technology, engineering, maths. So without a proper calculation, without a proper engineering way of building satellites, or without having the knowledge of science or technology, you cannot build a satellite. So recently, I think everybody has gone through a notebook that was sent that was talking about the history and what are the parts of satellite. Can anybody tell what are the different kinds of satellites that you have read in the guide that was sent in the group? Somebody is telling weather forecasting for military. So what are the different kinds of satellites that are there? Weather forecasting satellite, okay. Communication satellites, okay. Signals, Earth observation satellites. Any more? Scientific satellite, military satellite, antenna connection, okay. So antenna connection, all these things, I think it's a part of satellite and artificial satellite, okay. So there are a few satellites, that is micro satellites, nano satellites. Some are femto satellites. These are small satellites that can be done, micro, nano, and femto. Can you tell which one is the smallest? Is it micro or nano or femto? Which is the smallest kind of satellite? Nano. Okay. Nano. Okay. Everybody is telling nano. So nano satellites, femto satellites. Okay. Very nice. Femto. We are getting few femto like star. Yes, it is not nano satellites, it's femto satellites, which are the smallest, which will be approximately from 10 to 100 grams. And the SatCan that we will be building will come around 200 or 100 grams to 200 grams, or maybe more than that sometimes. So it depends upon what all components you'll be using. So what are the different components do you think will be there in the satellites? Arduino, okay. Somebody is telling Arduino. Microcontroller chips, okay. Arduino microcontroller chips, communication, somebody's selling gyroscope, thrusters, okay. So all these are the answers like Arduino, gyroscope, thrusters, panels, communication. So what do you use for communication? Antennas, okay. So in this SATCAN course, you'll be learning from basics, that is, what are the different kinds of satellites, till how to build your own satellite with a CAN, and what are the different coding structures that will be used, and what are the different components that will be used. Everything will be taught from basics. So even if you are new to building a satellite, even if you are new for coding, if you don't know what is coding, how to code, don't worry. This is the place where you learn, and this is the place where you can gain a lot of knowledge. And somebody is selling sensors and transmitters and receivers. Okay, so you'll be learning about sensors too in this, sensors and transmitters, how to do it. So I hope everybody will learn in the next 3 months. And now with us, we have our guest speakers moving forward. We have Lakshman Vijay and Pranshu Agarwal, who are studying engineering now and currently pursuing engineering in VIT Vellore in mechanical and electronics and communication. So they'll be taking over, and they'll be telling you the basics of SATCAN and what are you going to learn for the next few months. And here you'll be introduced for the program of SATCAN by them, and they'll give their experience, and they're the part, and they're the chairman, or they're the board members of a team that is called Team Samar, which is a team which works on rockets and satellites, which builds satellite and which builds rocket, and they participate in different international events and competitions where the Team Samar members have won many different competitions. And they'll be telling about their team, and they'll be telling about what you'll be learning. So giving the stage to Lakshman Vijay and Pranshu Agarwal. Welcome. I welcome both of you. I request you to take over the session and make sure everybody gets to know about what they'll be learning for the next few weeks.
Thanks a lot. So I am Lakshman, and I am accompanied by Pranshu here. So I have worked as both of us have been board members of Team Samad for the past 2 years. I have worked predominantly in the rocket engine department. I have been the propulsion head, and Pranshu himself has held multiple portfolios actually. That guy has taken care of management. He's done aerodynamics as well as being a mechanical lead for our team. So let me share my screen. We have a short presentation for you. Host, could you please allow me to share my screen?
Yes, I think now you can share your screen.
Okay. So we've prepared a short presentation for you guys. Please let me know if this is visible.
Yeah, Lakshman, that's visible.
Okay. So yeah, so this is a introductory video. Let's watch this and let's talk about it.
Lakshman, the audio is not audible, so I think you need to share it with audio when you're sharing.
Right. So basically, this video shows what we do in terms of the two contests that we participate in. First is the CANSAT, obviously, and that is why we are here. That's what we're going to talk about. Second is the rocket contest that we participate in. So So Team Summer, this is our team, right? So who are we? What are we? And what do we do? We are a rocket team. We're not really a team rocket, but then we are a rocket team. We concentrate on this, and then we participate in 2 contests. The first one that we participate in is CanSat. That's what we started out with, and then now we moved on to rockets. We do both of these at the same time. Now, there are a few things that we do, right? The first is the Spaceport America Cup. It's an international student rocket launch contest involving heights of about 3 kilometers and all. That's what we do. We build rockets that are somewhere from 8 to 11 feet tall. And then there's the CanSat contest. It's an international contest. And both of these contests are highly recognized by a lot of people, right? Like where many universities that you would probably be able to name, like Stanford, Virginia Tech, and MIT, and all of these universities participate in these contests. This is to say that this course will be incredibly valuable to all those who are participating in, which is like you can just continue this forward into your college years, or if you're already in college, you could just continue with that in your extracurriculars. It will be a very valuable addition to your portfolio itself. So what are we going to do today, and what are we not going to do today, right? Like, what are we going to do? One, we learn about us, and second, what is CanSat? Why is it so important? More importantly, we have fun today. And what are we not going to do? We are not going to go into the deep math. We have a lot of time for that in the future. We have about 3 months for that. And then we are also going to talk about stress and how do we deal with stress in the team, because it is a very stressful environment, right? We are working with a lot of deadlines. We're working with a lot of moving components at all times. Pranchu will be able to elaborate more on that. He was the management lead for 2 years. So yeah. So our achievements. So we came 18th worldwide in 2018. That was our first year of participation. And in 2019, we came 20th worldwide, and this year we came 13th. And obviously, this year, as all of you must have known, it has been a very challenging year for us. We were cut off from our labs for about a year or so, and there was basically nothing we could do about it. And as you understand, you must know, right? Like the lab forms a very integral part of the development environment of a team, no matter what they do. And this is Spaceport America Cup. Once again, this is our first participation, and we secured 23rd worldwide. Especially when you're talking about world rankings, these are not like, these numbers may seem huge, but they really aren't. Especially when you're competing with about 1,500 people, 1,500 teams from around the world. Now, yes, this is how we bust stress, right? Like we have game nights almost every other week, almost every week actually. We made that a tradition, and we play a lot of things, right? Like all of these online multiplayer games. This is the work of our dedicated graphic design team. You can see Pranchu's face, and you can find me also somewhere in the background. And that's what we do, right? Like, and this is very special. This video is our first engine test fire, and this is an adventure in and of itself. I don't know if we are able to play the video or not. I'll just give it a try. I just have very bad internet at the moment. Okay, I guess internet has other plans for us. Let's just move on. So yes, CanSat. Why are we qualified? We've made quite a lot of CanSats actually. You must have seen 3 or 4 CanSat contests, but each time we go to a contest, we have to design multiple prototypes. We have to come up with different designs for the same function, and then we usually test those out in different scenarios. So that's how we end up with literally tons of CanSats, right? And this one is from 2018, a particular color that we love and cherish. Now, Pranchu is going to explain more on what CanSat is and what are the moving components that we have in that. Over to you, Pranchu.
Yes. So hello, everyone. And now we have told a bit about us. Who are we? What do we do? What are our credentials? But now we'll be moving forward in a direction where we'll tell you guys that what will you be learning, and a general overview of what a CanSat is, because I think this term would be pretty new and you must be hearing it for the first time. Satellites, we know what are satellites. CubeSats also, many of us know what are CubeSats, what are nano satellites, what are all these miniature satellites. But CanSat is a very unique thing. So I'm not very prepared, but I have prepared some notes that I'll be referring to you while going through the entire process of giving you an overview of what a CanSat is and how does it differ from a CubeSat and what all different things that we can do. Okay, so first of all, CanSat, as the name suggests, is an abbreviation for canister satellite, a CAN satellite. So it's basically a satellite which is very small and looks like a can, as you can see in the previous images. So it's type of a scientific payload which is used to teach space technology. It's not the end product that you guys launch into space. It's just a learning portal, learning platform for students like you and me, engineering students, school students, so they can have an introductory course to what working in an actual space program is, right? So its main characteristic is that it does not leave the atmosphere of Earth, unlike a generic satellite. All right, and it gets released at the apogee. It gets usually launched in a sounding rocket. It gets released at an apogee, and then it comes down using a descent mechanism in a controlled way, and it records all the data values. So yeah, here's I think competition of ESA European CANSAT competition that Lakshman just showed. So yeah, now coming to a basic definition of what is a satellite. So basically, satellite is any artificial body which revolves Earth, Moon, or essentially any other planet, right? And its purpose is to collect information, data, and it's also used for communication. You can move forward, Lakshman. Yes, so CANSAT I just told you about. You can see the cylindrical can and all the hollow cavity in which all the electrical sensors would be placed. Here are the dimensions. I think that's the design from a 2021 CANSAT. Yes. So here on the top we had, yeah, the previous one. Lakshman, could you move to the previous one? Yes. So here you can see that we have a chamber for the battery, which is shown as 60 millimeter. Then you can see those orange payloads, orange wings. So that was a 2021 problem statement. And now I'll tell you guys what is the difference between a CANSAT and a CubeSat. So CubeSat is essentially fall under the category of nano satellites, right? So it falls under the category of nano satellites and micro satellites and it weighs around 1 to 10 kilograms. And they're typically involved in experiments that can be miniaturized or served purpose, such as Earth observation and communication. So the primary difference between CubeSat and CANSAT is that CubeSats leave the atmosphere and they revolve around the Earth or any other planet in a generic way, whereas CANSATs do not leave the atmosphere and they land in a controlled manner as close as possible to the targeted region. Now I'd be telling you guys why CANSAT is so special and what's the buzz around it. Why did it come into the world basically? So in 1998, Stanford, some 50 odd students from Stanford University, see, CubeSats were already there in the world from lunar space programs and all of that from 80s, 90s. But in 1998, 50 or odd students from Stanford University, they grouped together and they just experimented because, you know, engineering college students, they just can't deal into professional rocketry, the satellites that go around the atmosphere that go around and rotate around Earth or any other planet. So they thought, why not we think about a satellite program via which students can be introduced, and then later on their stages, when they do their master degree or whether PhD or whether they take job at any national space agency or any private space agency for that matter, then they'll have a better engineering background towards dealing with satellites and rockets. So CANSATs. So first of all, there is no limit to the experiments that can be done from CANSAT. You can collect atmospheric data, you can collect pollution data, you can have microbiological experiments. And since the rocket is launched with high G forces, you can have high G forces experiment in your CANSAT. And as we have told you, and we'll further be telling you a couple of CANSAT competition to give you the idea of how unique the competition is. So you can have various ascending methods. So first, the most basic and common one is the sounding rockets that we have. And then you can have aeroplanes and helicopters from which CANSATs can be dropped. Now CANSATs, when they're dropped or when they're launched through rocket, when they come back to the ground, they have to do that in a controlled manner. And there can be limitless ways of how they can return. So there are normal ways like parachute. Then there are other ways like glider, as shown in this pictorial representation. And then there are other ways like a helicopter, maybe. So let's talk about the real world opportunities and the plethora of opportunities that are there for the CANSATs. So just from the top of my head, I had these couple of odd ideas where the CANSATs could be used. So first of all, forest fires. So forest fires, even at the place where fire is happening, even at 100 feet of altitude above that, or maybe 200 feet of altitude above that, it's very hot. So practically there can't be any vehicle like an airplane or maybe a helicopter pass by to monitor the situation, because of course it would be harmful to the human life if they are so close to the forest fire. And if any accident happens, that will cause loss of human life and also loss of property. So CANSATs are so cheap. They're so cheap to launch and they're so cheap to make. You can basically launch a CANSAT into that fire, and while it descends down, it can do the video shoot and the photo shoot of that particular specific area, and it can also collect pollution data and all the important atmospheric data that would be needed by the disaster mitigation authority or the fire department and all of that. So that is such a good you know application of a CANSAT. The other one would be for research purposes. This one was for disaster management. Another one would be for research purposes, which would be assessing the volcanic regions, right? So the concept is the same. Above the lava, above the molten lava, there's a lot of heat, and practically if you send drones, drones cost around 3 to 4 lakh rupees, the decent ones, which fly and record all the stuff. So even they can get damaged. If they're damaged, that is a huge loss. But these CANSATs, they can be designed from basically 5,000 rupees to 30,000 rupees, and you can go as far as you may, but they are very cheap if you have to launch one time. And then they can similarly record all the data that you would require for above the volcanic regions and all of that. So that was another application that came to my mind. So that was all from my side. You can carry on with the CANSAT competition, Lakshmi.
Yeah. So you must have heard how Pranshu talked about these various applications, right? These applications, and the reason why these CANSATs are so cheap is because their descent is completely passive. We don't usually, or like the contest itself doesn't usually encourage the use of any active surfaces, meaning we can't control these surfaces like a drone. Like we can't use servos or other electronics to have control surfaces on these. It has to happen completely passively. This is where a lot of interesting physics also comes into play. Here you can see several altitude levels, right? You have 725 meters, 450 meters, 250 meters. There are specific sets of tasks that have to be performed at these altitudes. And firstly, you have like rocket separation. At some point, you have a separation of a small glider that has to move around in concentric circles. And then at 250 meters, that glider has to come back to the Earth using a parachute. So all of these are highly controlled parameters. This altitude 450 meters is a tight limit. We need to achieve those certain tasks before that. And at the same time, the circumference of the circle that the glider makes is also a very controlled aspect. Like we cannot overdo or like shoot past a particular limit. And that is where a lot of physics comes into play. So this is the 2020 the one that you see here is like the 2020 CANSAT mission overview. This is like a pictorial representation of what we're supposed to do. The way in which all of this is achieved. Now, obviously, if it involves a lot of physics, it also involves a lot of surface engineering and a lot of aerodynamics, right? It's pretty impossible for us, or like for us at the student level, to manufacture all of these things without the help of 3D printing. We have our own 3D printers at the lab that we work in. It's sponsored by the university. So we make use of really cutting edge technology. We make use of like the forefront of the 3D and rapid manufacturing technologies in order to get these things off the ground. And you can see that this is a FDM machine. It's manufacturing one of the CANSAT's bodies. So this is a prototype. Again, we don't just rely on one particular technique, or we don't just rely on one particular model for us. We don't come to this one very good model just like that, right? We have to do a lot of design iterations. We need to do a lot of designs themselves, which have to be compared with each other. Sometimes they're not possible in a simulated environment, and we need to make prototypes. This is one such prototype. It was made of wood and this was the glider prototype that we made in order to test the wing measurements and all. It might seem crude, but actually these wings are positioned in very particular angles in order to impart the roll motion that we had to impart in the glider. Now, this is another view of the same glider. Actually, this glider itself, it failed. We had to make like 10 or 15 of these in order to test out which one actually worked. We had to move several parameters, like we had to test out center of mass, we had to test out the wing area, we had to test out rudders, we had to test out a lot of different parameters in order to get the actual one. And yes, this was supported by simulation data, but we just needed to know how it performed in the real world in order to rely our calculations on actual plausible experiments that we could replicate. And in the process, we also lost a lot of gliders. Now, if you look at this carefully, this is actually the engineering process that goes into the design of literally any mechanism or literally every product out there, right? Your car was not designed right off the bat. They had to come up with various designs to achieve the same thing. And then that's after a lot of experimentation, you get your car. So it's a very close parallel. And this experience is very valuable for us. It has proved to be very valuable for us. Our seniors many of them are in TU Delft, many of them are in TU Munich. All of these are incredible institutions for higher education. Many of them all have also placed in tech companies for their work in like co-curricular and extracurricular activities. Now on to Pranshu for 2021 CANSAT mission statement.
Yes, so giving you a further exposure to how, and basically our target is to give you how exposure of how dynamic the CANSAT problem statement is. So as Lakshman told you that, as Lakshman showed you the glider that we had made for the CANSAT 2020 problem statement. So basically the payload was in the rocket and then it would spiral down with the use of the glider, and in that transit, it would collect all the data. But in the CANSAT 2021 problem statement, we had to have a monowing gyrocopter descent or a monowing maple seed descent. So to just ease that for you, it's just a passive helicopter. There is no motor. It's just a passive helicopter. Yes. So here's another prototype that we created during the lockdown for this year's competition. So it's just a mono rotor wing, and it had to achieve the descent speeds that are there by the competition, that are required for the competition. And the white box that you are seeing here, there would be all the electronics of this thing. So, and we had to have 2 of that. So if you could shift to the next slide, Lakshman. Yes. So that is the CAD rendering that we created in the SolidWorks, the CAD modeling software, and you guys will be also learning that stuff in the further upcoming workshops. So first of all, you design all of this in these softwares, and then for dimension check and to see if, and to practically test out your stuff, because calculation is one thing, but theoretically testing out your designs is a totally different thing. It's totally different, world. And it's very important, as Lakshman mentioned, because your design goes through a lot of iterations. It's not just a one-day process, or it's not just that you have designed it once and you can carry it on with your actual experiment or actual competition. So it's the CAD model, as I said, and on the left you can see the entire CANSAT. So on the outer we have the heat shield, and on the inner side you can see that there are two of those science payloads, and that was the requirement of the competition. So the bottom one, which you can see, the silver colored one, it had to be launched at 500 meters, and it had to rotate stably and descend and collect all the data. And the other one had to be launched or released at 400 meters, and then it had to collect the data from 400 meters till the ground. So that was our problem statement. Now, I have seen that many of you guys have been asking questions, and I've got some very specific questions. So you can contact us. You are free to contact us. If you can shift to the contact screen, Lakshman. Yes. So here are some social media handles for our team, and you are free to contact us anytime if you have any technical doubts, or if you just want to upgrade yourself and have a notch more above the rest and have any technical doubts. Those can be technical, those can be general, or if you want to collaborate with us for any kind of event that you would like, so you can take a screenshot of this and contact us.
Also, talking about our experience with CANSAT, we were too young to probably realize how important this was 2 years down the line. But now we have certain realizations that we did not have in the past. If you think about it, at the end of your college education or the end of your whatever part of academia that you are in, the most important thing that you would have to do is to sell yourself, right? Either you go to a job market or you go to a higher education institution, and then you need to portray yourself in such a positive light that they give you that opportunity that you now. Being in the lockdown and being able to pull this off has taught us a lot of things. It has taught us how we are capable of, like, and that's probably the most interesting aspect of this entire experience for me. We were like forced to push and think out of the box because we did not have the usual tools that we had. A lot of things that we had were just crude hand tools, and we had to make those tools half the time. So that is the most important part that I felt that I learned from this experience, and that is probably what I'll be reflecting in my interviews or in the letters that I write to like higher education institutions in order to tell them that I am capable of doing this. You should be very excited about this course. You should be very excited about what you can do with this knowledge and how you can portray yourself with this knowledge that you're going to gain in the next 3 months. Pranshu, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so as Lakshman said, just extrapolating on that. So first of all, this CANSAT thing that you guys are going to learn, you're brilliant minds, and I told you guys that CANSAT is not limited. You can have hundreds of permutation and competition combinations with all the ascent methods, descent methods, and all the experiments that you want to perform. But adding on to that, while working in a team with because see, one person cannot handle it all, so we had several departments, and we also had to simultaneously have an outreach of our team and also simultaneously have to collect funds for building this project. So it was a very interdisciplinary thing for us. It was not just technical. So we learned a lot during this. And this one thing to say that teamwork is the most important thing while you are working in a team. But when you are actually working with your peers, with students same as your age, without any guidance or without any authority above you, and you are just an authority figure for your team, you just decide for yourself and for your team with the other responsible members, that is an entirely different experience that you guys have. And that would certainly be an added bonus to your technical competencies in your academics or your letter of recommendations or your statement of purpose while you pursue higher studies or jobs for that matter.
Yes, and we really hope that you guys enjoy your time here. We have a lot planned for you. Stay excited, stay positive in these times. Thank you, guys. Good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Pranshu and Lakshman. It was a great presentation, and hope everybody got to know about what they'll be learning for the next few weeks and few months, and what they'll be making sure that they'll be learning. So here, there are a few questions that, if possible, if you could answer. What type of feedback system or sensors do you use to collect data?
Okay, so interesting question. Now we use the most common types of sensors available. The reasons are multifold, right? It's always okay. So the reason as to why we usually go for the most commonly available sensor is multifold. Now, engineering is not about how complex you engineer a particular system. It's actually about how simply you're able to achieve a particular task, right? Because you eliminate a lot of pitfalls along the way if you're able to eliminate all these complexities. So for pressure, we go for the BMP 180 or like the BMP 220, which are very commonly available sensors. You have common data sheets for that, which removes that much amount of testing that we have to do for a new sensor that we get from China or somewhere else. And you also have several people manufacturing the same sensor. So we get a wide array of quality that we would want to pick from. So those are the kind of sensors that we usually go for. Feedback, we use a number of boards, right? Usually we go with the Arduino because it's open source. We have a lot of support. We get to we get to experiment with a lot of things. Actually, we get to explore a lot of ideas that other people have to talk about this. And also this community is highly open source oriented community, this CANSAT community. And we're just one of those teams, right? We have hundreds of teams around the world. So it becomes easier for us to communicate with other teams and get our issues solved if that is what we're looking for when we're using such open source solutions that are available online. And I'm pretty sure this is a quality that most companies and higher education institutes appreciate.
I think the question is answered, and there are a few questions that were given in the Q&A, and I think the speakers have answered it. So if anybody wants to know about what is it, you can just go to the Q&A section and check about the questions and answers that is answered. So I'll be reading out few questions and answers that is given out so that everybody will get to know about what it is, and your doubts will be cleared. So there's a question: is it a real satellite which will go up to space? So CANSATs do not leave atmosphere. That's the basic difference between generic satellites and CANSATs. So this is answered by Pranshu, and then the same thing. I think what are the types of feedback system or sensors do you collect data is answered live, and it's answered even in the text, so that you can go to the Q&A section and you can check. The YouTube channel link, everything is given to you guys, and if you the links for their social media accounts will be shared in your WhatsApp group, so that you can follow them and you can get to know a lot about different programs that Team Samarth is doing, and what are the different activities they're doing, what are the different competitions and their experiments. Everything will be known to you. So follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So I think one of them has asked Arduino programming, and it's been answered that they'll be using Arduino programming. There are a few questions about SATCAN pack. The SATCAN pack will be available after 3 weeks of by the end of August end. You'll be having it in the Scout shop of Bharat Scouts and Guides Karnataka. So it will be there in the Bharat Scouts and Guides Karnataka Scout shop, where you all can go purchase it, and there'll be few sensors, and if you want to buy some sensors out of those, you can buy it from the market or you can buy it from us too. So that is one thing. And the group which I'm talking about is the WhatsApp group that's created for the participants. So you must have received a group link in your WhatsApp or in your mail ID. So please check your mail ID or your spam account, so that you would have received your link for WhatsApp group, and where all the materials will be shared over there. There's this one question I think they can answer: how the CG manager in your design to maintain a stable parabolic flight, and how wind affect the flight, and how do you calculate it?
Yes. So Srisai, are you asking this for a rockets or for CANSATs? Because we introduced both of them and both have very different mechanisms. Okay, all right. So basically, CG for a rocket is that in a rocket, the center of gravity should be higher and center of pressure should be lower, so that you have a stable flight, right? Because if you have your basic mechanics right, so when a rocket flies, so the forces are experienced about center of gravity. So if, for example, if a rocket tilts into this direction and its center of gravity is here, which is at the bottom, as I told you, and center of pressure is here, so the force would be applied in the opposite direction, and we'll have a counter moment. So that will keep the rocket stable. So that is for the rockets. And for stable parabolic path for the flight. Okay, for the winds, yes. So we have a software. It's particularly based for rockets, rocket flight mechanics. It's called OpenRocket. So you already have, cross winds that are there, and we design the rocket such. The software helps us in designing the rocket such that it incorporates the crosswinds as well. And for the CANSATs, the thing is, it varies. As we told you that the CANSAT problem is very varied. So if you have a glider, you have to follow plane dynamics. You have to follow aeroplane aerodynamics. if you have a helicopter or the 2021 problem statement where you saw the single wing, it has to follow the helicopter aerodynamics, right? So it varies a lot, and you can just basically Google for it. How do you keep a flat plane stable? How do you keep a helicopter stable? And you will get the answer. And basically, we just apply those principles here. So I hope that answers that.
Also,
Yeah.
if you're wondering what center of pressure is, that is the point at which the force from the rocket engine acts on the airframe of the rocket. And to answer the question in short, these are basically problems of applied mechanics and
Yeah.
aerodynamics. So you basically resolve forces and then you come up with the point that you want to talk about. Now we have softwares that do this for us, but you can also solve it by hand, just that it takes a lot more time.
I think that answers Sri Sai. If you have any more doubts, you can contact them, or if you're free now, you can type it in the Q&A section. Anybody has any doubts. So going forward with how to buy and where to buy the kit of SATCAN, all the details will be sent to you guys and it will be given in the next few sessions. So stay tuned and keep on coming to the sessions, and the recordings will be there available. So even whoever is unable to join due to some technical issues or any network issues or any other events, so the recording will be available and it will be sent to you in your mail, so that you can click on the recordings and you can go through it. And what is the cost about the kit? Everything will be given to you on the end of this month. So all the kits will be available, so you can buy it from the Scout Shop of Bharat Scouts and Guides. So stay tuned for this week. I think by the end of this month, the whole kit will be available, so that you all can start working on it. The cost will be known to you on the third week of the August. So you can third week of the August we'll tell you the cost, and fourth week of the August the kit will be available on the Bharat Scouts and Guides Karnataka Scout Shop. So if there is no other questions, I think we can go forward and end this session. Lakshman and Pranshu, do you have anything else to go ahead with informing the participants about the next week's event?
Okay, so basically, our juniors would be taking your technical workshops, and you'll get to know their names. So there are five or six of them. So those guys will be teaching you, and believe me, they are damn good, because they are in Team Samarth, and they have shaped so. So that is the information that I want to forward. And best of luck to you guys. I mean, this is gonna be a very, very good thing, and I hope that I in my school time or in my early college had this kind of exposure. But yeah, here we are with our 3 years or 4 years of learnings that we're imparting it to you, and best of luck.
So
Yes,
I think yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so stay motivated, everybody. Don't lose this opportunity. Use this opportunity to make connections, because it's a highly concentrated, like-minded pool of people, right? Make connections. Who knows, you might have many more opportunities in the future in this regard. All the best to all of you. Happy learning. Bye.
That's really nice about Lakshman and Pranshu for encouraging everybody. Hope you'll be there in our further sessions also. And thank you, Team Samarth, for accepting the place where you could teach all the young people from Bharat Scouts and Guides, Karnataka, and all over the different parts of country, and even few people who are from different SAARC nations. So so everybody keep your levels of motivation and keep your interest high, and we'll be sending you some of the activity packs where you can learn from it. And recently I've sent them about different kinds of satellites, so you can go through it. And if you have it's a self-explanatory, so it's just for knowledge purpose that you all can go through it. And if you have any doubts, we can come up next week, and from next week a proper course of from the basics will be started. So hope to see you all next week, and you'll be receiving the recordings in your Gmail. So keep yourself tuned and make sure you're ready for next week with a higher amount of spirits, and see you all next week. Thank you so much, everybody.